And there we go. There we are, guys. Welcome, everyone, to game number 1 in this series. Oh, need to update the score with the information. Always forget to do this. Dragonstar versus Brew. This is not Warlords. This is Double Cup 3. This is the best of 5 as well. And if you guys would like to contribute towards a prize pool for this tournament, you can also do exclamation mark DC3. You're going to get a link over there where you can make a contribution to the prize pool. Right now it's about 500, I believe, and they're trying to get it to 700, which is the same prize pool they had for Double Cup 2, actually. Hey, Hidden Gems Gamer. Hi. Is this live or recorded? These are recorded games. We are doing recorded games right now. And I should probably include the stage of the tournament. This is lower bracket, round 2. There we go. And we're probably going to be switching colors over here as well. We're going to have Dragonstar in the blue color, and we are going to have Brew in the red color like this. So there we go. Taking a look at the civilization, starting, well, it's going to be the same for both, right? Hindustani, so what do we get for both these guys? We're going to get first off 10, 15, 20, and 25% cheaper villagers in the Darkfield Castle and Imperial Ages. Besides that, we also see for Hindustanis +1/+1 armor on gunpowder units. There's going to be 25% faster attacking camel rider units, and for the team bonus, Hindustanis get 2 bonus damage from light cavalry, hussar, and camel rider units against buildings. Oh yeah, the stream title is incorrect. Sorry about that. I just noticed. Thank you. Did I get the incorrect set? I think I was actually meant to do ACCM versus El Niro first. Sorry about that. We're going to do this one, and then we are going to do the other one next. But we're going to cover both series no matter what. Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. Thank you for the heads up. I should have the stream title updated. It's kind of important, you know, for people browsing Twitch. There we go. So yeah, that's going to be it for the civilizations for both these players. Now, you might remember this map, and it's a very interesting one for sure, especially coming from casting Warlords the entire weekend, where we would see 1v1 Black Forest. Now we have this double homelands, which is not necessarily the same thing, but it's got certainly some similarities, right? So it's going to lend from Black Forest the choke point at the center, even if it's going to be a little bit wider, or maybe a lot wider compared to most of the choke points on Black Forest. We could still see the players closing the gap over here pretty easily, and for instance, doesn't seem like anybody's sending a villager forward yet. But yeah, obviously we could see the players just come in and go for something like this. Potentially for, you know, the red player go for something like this as well. Mirror on this map, I hope there's no wall. You can expect the walls, unfortunately. If you don't want to see it, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, it's usually been the case. At the very least, one of the players is going to try. But the thing is, if only one of the players walls the center and the other doesn't, it's only one of the players who's going to have control of the crossing, right? The choke point over here. So that still means that we're likely to get a little bit early aggression compared as if both players have gone for the walls, which would make it impossible for either player to really get to the other side without taking the walls down first. So I guess we are going to find out. For the time being, nobody's sending anybody forward. Nobody's sending a single villager yet. The map generation over here should be pretty consistent. I believe we might have one extra goal for the blue player. Not 100% sure about this. Let me take a look. So we have this one over here. This one over here. This one. So that's 3, 4, 5 golds. 6, 7, 8 golds for the blue player, right? Technically. Oh, wait a moment. What is Dragonstar going for? Hold on. What? Does he not know about this map? I think he might not know, guys. I think he might not know about this map. He's well in the safe area already. Oh boy. He doesn't. It seems like he doesn't know about this map. And now he's sending some villagers over to the center. So he's going to be the one to go for the walls. On the right-hand side, Brew, it doesn't seem like he's going to go for it. So how many were it? I think we're 9 golds, right? And let's take a look at the situation for the red player while we wait for Dragonstar to get the walls up. So we're going to see for the red player 1, 2 golds, 3, 4, 5 golds only. I guess because of the walls that Dragonstar is going for, this is going to be kind of bruised, right? But it's going to be 6. So it seems like Dragonstar's got more gold over here. These kind of asymmetries in the map generations are somewhat to be expected on tournaments with a lot of maps in the map pool, right? Because it's very hard to keep all the maps fair. Although it seems like this one might actually be 2 combined though. Let's see, we have the scouts from Brew at the center over there, but now we have the scouts from Dragonstar as well. As both players get to the fuel H, it's not really safe for Brew to try and stick around over here. Could have tried to take the villagers down, would have gotten it for sure, but would have lost one of the scouts for sure, and the other one was gonna be left on very little HP as well. So yeah, I think it's going to be more like 8 to 7, right? Because we did see some of the goals being combined for Brew in any case, and there is so much gold over here as is anyway for both these players that I don't think it matters too much if one player has 1 or 2 extra golds, because it's going to still be enough for them to get going, and the goal is going to be enough for them to sustain their military production, their eco upgrades and whatever. Not eco upgrades, but their upgrades, military upgrades and whatever, for pretty long into the game for sure. Relic generation seems to be better though. We have 4 relics by the looks of it for the red player. And we have 4 relics, 5 relics it seems for the blue player. So the blue player is favored over here a little bit more. So do we have 9 total over here? Yes, so we have 5 for Dragonstar. And we have 4 for Brew. And it's actually pronounced Brew? That's what I'm saying, Brew. Because of Bruno, right? That's his name. Bro, TC idle time for Brew? Hey, Grump! Well, maybe not exactly the way I'm pronouncing it. Maybe it's Brew, perhaps? Anyway, Castle Age is coming up already for Dragonstar. And we are expecting to see this. We are expecting both players to basically fast castle. Oh, a villager goes down though. First blood. There we go. Yeah, and Dragonstar is actually going after the geese too. Or the turkeys, rather. It's going after the turkeys. And already managed to get all 4. Damn. Scout's alive over here. And the wall is open at the center still, so he could potentially get out of here. I don't think he'll be able to do too much with the scout anyway, so I don't think it makes too much of a difference if he loses it or keeps it. But yeah, it's been very, very good for Dragonstar so far. Brew's been struggling to keep his production going. He's been struggling to keep the adult TC timer low, and Dragonstar's been able to get some of the turkeys over there as well, so no wonder the bull player is looking a little bit stronger over here. He's got 6 extra villagers at this point in time already. He's looking better for eco upgrades as well with Balsaw and Heavy Plow. And it doesn't seem like Brew will be able to catch up over here. He's got the 3rd and 4th DCs on the way. But Dragonstar already has them up as well. Thanksgiving came early? Yeah. Indeed. Yeah, and in the end, both players are completely walled off, so it's unlikely we're gonna see too much aggression from this point onwards until the players get probably to the Imperial Age, perhaps. And once again, it just goes to show some of the similarities between a map like this and something like 1v1 Black Forest, which we wouldn't have seen anywhere else other than Warlords, but this is probably as close as it gets for any other maps. Bruce trying to breach through. And Dragonstar is not really worrying about a thing here. He's got monks coming out. He's not sending a villager over to wall this off or to keep the walls up. Instead, he's gonna go for barracks to get spearmen out and play defensively. But he's got the barracks only up in the north, so he goes for a 50 siege down the south. And this should be enough. How many villagers do we have over here for the blue player? He's got 40 villagers. With 3 TCs, he'll be able to garrison everything if he needs to. Up in the north, he might have a comparable villager count. Yeah, 40 villagers over here. Doesn't have a 30 TC, of course, but with the spearmen coming out, he should be able to defend against scouts pretty easily. Plus, Bruce not really committing too heavily into the aggression, right? He's got just the 2 starting scouts coming forward. Very low HP, both of these. And just the 1 camel, so he's not really been going for too much. 50 Cs up now for Brew as well, and both players are going for a boom fest here. A lot of extra TC time for Brew indeed, though. Why will nobody push the middle? Huge space to reroll? Yeah, for sure. Even with 2, you know, scouts, he was able to breach through. 2 fuel age scouts. Well, castle age, technically. He was able to breach through, so it's not that difficult. But I imagine it's probably a matter of the double TC start being so fast in terms of building economy up, that by the time you go forward, especially if you commit resources, instead of going for extra economy, you commit the resources to go forward, right? Let's say that Bruce sent some villagers over here and he managed to get a siege workshop up over here, and then he started putting pressure. It'll be pretty difficult for him to get any damage done before Dragonstar already gets a strong enough economy to potentially go up to the Imperial Age. And even without that, Dragonstar will be pretty easily able to defend himself just by going for a defensive siege workshop, as it's usually a little bit easier, a little bit cheaper to play defensive. There is not too much incentive on a map like this to play aggressive, but it's good because that's what you want. You want a map pool that's going to have different, you know, maps of different natures that are going to favor different playstyles. So a player that doesn't feel comfortable in a map where it's extremely open and it's very prone to aggression is going to want to use something like this, and I think it's fine that they have the option, but it's a limited amount of options, so to say. After this map is through, we are not going to have many closed maps left. So we are certainly expecting to see a little bit more action-packed games for the rest of the series for sure. Castle coming up for Dragonstar at the center, and he's gonna be indeed on his way to the Imperial Age. Well done, Brew. Brew's getting very close himself as well in terms of resources. He's got it. Now he's going up to the Imperial Age, and notice he realizes about the castle and starts going for stone walls right away when the red player was the one trying to go forward. But once again, he didn't really commit to the aggression. He just wanted to taste the waters and see what Dragonstar had. He finds himself behind by a few hundred points over here. Probably suspects to be behind in villager count. Most likely. Probably is aware of the higher idle TC time that he had up until this point. That now Dragonstar is catching for, yes. But Dragonstar does have 6 TCs and Bruce still has 5 TCs only, so it's a little bit misleading. Plus, Dragonstar has already gotten to the amount of villagers he wants to get ultimately, so from this point onwards, the other TC count is not really going to matter too much. 123 villagers for Dragonstar. Should already be plenty for him to start thinking of going for military now. Bombarding armor on the way. There we go. The camels are coming in from Dragonstar. He doesn't have +2/+2 yet, but he does have +1 attack. Meanwhile, Bruce got only +1/+1 defense, but no +1 attack. These camels from Dragonstar are looking a little bit stronger because of it. Now we see some of the golem coming up. The golems. Just gonna utilize the defender's advantage to hold on over there, but very interesting army composition from Dragonstar. I wouldn't expect the golem, the golem, sorry, oh my god, I keep on mixing those up. It was on purpose before, not now. He keeps on going for the golem over here. And Brew is not really going for much of anything against that. The camels over here are still going to be plenty strong, so Brew is going to be able to defend just fine for the time being, but the Imperial Age is here for Dragonstar a little bit earlier. He's got the Iron Casting, still no Imperial Age upgrades, no Plate Bar and Armor, no Blast Furnace, no Heavy Camel, but now he's got Heavy Camel on the way. And Brew struggling to keep military production. Take a look. 13 to 22 military units for Brew and Dragonstar. There we go, defensive castle on the way for Brew. Dragonstar doesn't know about it. He should know about it now. He's not going for any trebuchets. Instead, just going to try to spread his army up. Split his units up and try to cover a wider area. As you can see, we see Grand Trunk Road coming in for Dragonstar as well, and he's gonna have a head start to Heavy Camel of about only 20 seconds. It's not a lot, and still we are missing Plate Bar and Armor for both these guys. Although Dragonstar does have it on the way, of course. Once again, Brew is the one struggling over here for sure. Yeah, and once Dragonstar finishes researching it, Brew won't really be able to take any engagements. It took some time, but Dragonstar starts pumping the trebuchets out, and Brew has his own trebuchet as well. Just doesn't really have the means to engage over here against Dragonstar. Still about 32 population higher, the Bull player that is. And with the second trebuchet over here, Dragonstar's gonna have the upper hand. Trip battle. Keeps on trying to raid around, but most likely the knot ended up getting cleaned up on the back of Brew's base. But he still ends up taking the castle down over here. One more shot. There we go. Bow. Castle crumbles. Now Dragonstar can consider coming forward and diving in. Take the trebuchet down over there. Keep his own castle up. Interestingly enough, though, we see Imperial Camel coming up for Brew, but not for Dragonstar. Now Dragonstar's going for it, but Brew had a head start to it. So he had 21 over here for the red player. We had 37 for Dragonstar. Even with the Imperial Camel, that is not going to suffice for Brew to take a proper engagement over here, unfortunately for him. Yeah, and it seems like in the end, the extra gold that was available for Dragonstar on this map is not really going to make much of a difference, right? The players had enough gold to get their armies going, and in the end, it's not going to be a matter of resource availability on this map as much as it's going to be a matter of numbers. Dragonstar's done a little bit of a better job keeping his TCs working, getting his villager count up to what it needed to be earlier compared to Brew, getting the upgrades over here, and overall, yeah, being the one to put pressure. But now Brew's fighting back. This is a direct result of Dragonstar splitting his army up. Notice that he has a bunch of camels over here going down to the castles. Earlier in this game, he sent a bunch of the camels over the right-hand side as well, as opposed to going for one big center push. So Brew was able to defend over here successfully for the time being, although Dragonstar is still looking a little bit stronger. It's going to be by a lower margin compared to before, as he's got only 14 to 10 extra population, depending on the moment you look at it. Yeah, and Brew's fighting back. Dragonstar's getting fletching. That's going to make the castle significantly stronger as well. For a defensive fortification. Here comes Dragonstar once again. We have 20 plus Imperial Camels for Brew versus 30 plus Imperial Camels for Dragonstar. So this is going in favor of the Bull player. Should be going in favor of the Bull player. But once again, the units though, they are distracted. What is he doing? Targeting a house over there. This allows Brew to hold on. If Dragonstar attacked with everything he had at once, he would have been able to completely steamroll this. Now in the end, Brew is still going to end up losing the fight, but it's not going to be anywhere by, it's not going to be anywhere near by as much as it would have been if Dragonstar had engaged with everything he had. And now, I do understand targeting the stables for sure. That's going to directly impact Brew's production potential. While the house earlier, of course, not so much. So yeah, I'm liking this a little bit better. If he takes the stables down, then the red player won't be able to keep on going for much more over here. We have at this point in time 11 stables for Brew. Dragonstar, he's got 10 stables, actually 9 with the 10th one coming up. And that's going to, the stable going down over there for Brew is going to bring his own stable count down to 10 as well. Very soon, Dragonstar on 200 population, Brew. Not quite. Not quite. 53 beer camels for Dragonstar, 34 for Brew. Certainly spells bad news for the red player rather. And here comes Dragonstar. Big engagement over here. He's not even utilizing everything once again. Dragonstar has been struggling this game to make use of the units. Send the camels, man. It's gonna end up getting a good engagement over here in the end anyway. It just goes to show how strong the push from Dragonstar is and how much of a lead he's got right now that he can actually afford to split this army up and still take on the big group of defensive units from Brew while sending some of the units around to get the raids going. What is the name of the map? Hey Shulkin, it's Double Homeland. There we go. There we are. Beautiful. Hey Lord Commander, mirror matches on a map like this snowball so much. They do. They do, and Dragonstar's done such a good job over here. It didn't seem like the lead was quite as significant earlier, but of course, as you say, snowball. Yeah, there we go. Brew calls a GG over here. Snowballing is a beautiful way to put it because that's exactly what happens, right? A very small lead starts rolling, picking up more and more, you know, more and more of a lead, and then it eventually builds up. And when we take a look at the achievements, you'll see exactly how that is for sure. For military, see a better KD for Dragonstar, and the end's going to be a little bit better than 5 to 4. And military count over here, you can see as well. Dragonstar kind of ran out of units over here at one point, but then he was the first player to actually start going for military once the players were thinking of getting up to the Imperial Age, right? And then Dragonstar was able to keep his momentum from here for economy. We had a somewhat minor lead for Dragonstar in gather resources, total gather resources, but once again, everything adds up every little bit. 2,000 extra resources at the end of the game. Society as well, we have a little bit of a higher worker count for Dragonstar, which is what allowed him to get a stronger economy. And so long as both these players played their cards right, so long as both these players kept trading units similarly, it was always going to go in favor of Dragonstar. So well done. Dragonstar won. Brunil. We'll jump into game number 2 in just one moment. And here we are, guys. Brew versus Dragonstar. Mongols versus Persians. Not a mirror matchup anymore. Persians are a very interesting civilization choice over here, because the TCs have an extra HP. However, you gotta remember, Nomad start maps in this tournament have a rule.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, they're talking about it actually. Yeah, Villager goes down over there for Brew. He asks, is that allowed? Dragonstar says yes. I lost in qualifier to a 1400 to this, he says. Yeah, but it's actually not allowed. It's actually not allowed. They actually had to restart this one because they changed the rules after the qualifiers to forbid villager engagements early on and TC war. So of course it's going to go in favor of Dragonstar if he's to douche Brew, right? And he's trying to go for it. We see both TCs coming up at about the same time. This is not good. This is going to be a replay. So let me go and see if they have the file available. They do. Okay. I'm not really sure how long this is going to keep on going, but I don't think this is not going to Does not go into account to anything. Let's just fast forward to see what happens. But this indeed should get replayed. We're getting past 5 minutes already. Oh, they're going for it. Don't worry, guys. This game is not really counting. There is a file called Game 2 Replayed that I have at hand. I just wanted to see what happened in the first try. And yeah, it's just that... Yeah, it's just that the players probably weren't aware about the rules being updated. It happens. We're gonna talk about the civilizations better and take a look at the map generation and talk about whatever you want a little bit more once this one is done. But yeah, actually they play the whole thing. So they had to replay the full game. And you can see why it's not allowed to douche on a map like this. Because, yeah, there we go. I think probably one of the admins reached out and let them know that it was actually not allowed. So let's go for this one. Game 2 Replayed. All right, there we go. There we go. Now we are, for realsies, in game number 2. The players are not allowed to fight with villagers early on. They are not allowed to place the TCs within range of the enemy TC as well. So now this is going to be a much more peaceful start. Anyway, for anybody who might not be familiar with this map, we're going to see each player begin on the center island, at the very center over here. And once again, though, you are not really allowed to place your TC like this. So I'm not really sure about this. They are ranging each other, and this is against the rules. So this is being replayed, but this is still technically against the rules. I guess as long as they do not really target each other's TCs, I guess technically it's okay. I mean, technically it's still breaking the rules, but for practical purposes, I would imagine that they are just... It's going to be just as if they were beyond each TC's range, if they just don't attack each other. But anyway, just needed to set treaty at the beginning to avoid issues. There were issues with treaty. I don't remember what those were, but there is a reason why they are not doing it. So it's not just that they haven't thought about it. But there were some issues with the way the treaty works that they decided not to use it. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what that is, though. Regardless, what's going on with Dragonstar over here? He's had these villagers idle forever, man. There we go. He's getting back to work. So far, 15, 16% worker efficiency all time. Meanwhile, over here, significantly better for Brew. He's been collecting resources all the time. For as long as he could, of course. And yeah, once again, for anybody who might not be familiar with the map, we're going to have the players start with 2 groups of villagers and 2 pack TCs. One group's going to be at the center of the map, surrounding the lake over here, where they are going to have some villagers. And the starting TC, the pack TC, they need to find a suitable spot to unpack it. And then there is a second group of villagers in an island, kind of stranded, so to say, but you do have a transport ship available from the get-go, so you can send your villagers and your pack TC from the island over to the center. You have to try and find a suitable location for your TC as well. So it's got the nomad start element to it, and you can make your choice, right? Do you want to get your TC up immediately on the mangrove over here and potentially expose yourself to water aggression, or do you want to take a little bit longer, get the TC up at the center where it's solid ground, but fall behind the work account? Well, Johnson decided to be the one to go for the TC up in the mangrove, but he's still actually falling behind the work account by about 3. So Brew has had a much better start for game number 2 so far. For the one that actually counts, not for the previous one. For these civilizations, Brew playing with Mongols is going to get 40% faster working hunters, as well as 30% extra HP, unlike cavalry hussars, step blaster line units, and 25% faster attacking cavalry archer units, with the team bonus being 2 extra line of sight on scout line units. Dragonstar playing with Persians gets twice the HP on TCs and docks. That work 10, 15, and 20% faster in the field castle and Imperial Ages. Besides that, we'll see for Persians also 50 extra wood and 50 extra food upon starting the game, which is nice on these nomad settings. Well, finally for the team bonus, Persians also get 2 bonus damage from naval units against archer type units. Why can't they live in peace in the center of the map, just fishing and doing their homes? Well, they tried. It's almost as if they had a choose, right? But then now, we see Dragonstar pushing Brew away. As the red player leaves the center. In search of a better life for his villagers. Some of the villagers, though, will decide to stay behind and try to work through the adversities. Try to make it through, as is usually the case with these situations. And Dragonstar, well, Dragonstar's got... Well, it's a boon over here for him. He's got so much food income over here from the center. Because I believe Brew is not really able to range these villagers, right? He is, actually. He will be able to range some of these villagers. But he's choosing not to. So these are pacifist villagers. Interesting. T was playing this one? What's going on? Is it co-op? Brew is just preparing to war, moving up in the north, and then T was gonna be over here at the center. No monks coming out though anytime soon. At the very least until we get to the castle age. Field age is already here for Brew, and he's got a tower coming up, and there you go! These villagers doing an about phase over here. 180 degrees turn. Decide to start going full aggression. They were just waiting until they had the technological lead. So they will be able to build towers over here. And Dragonstar is going to get pushed away from the center now. There we go. Yeah, the guys are not too familiar with the maps, unfortunately. Dragonstar says, I can't garrison my TC. And Bruce says, it's a bug from the map. You can, but you have to click in a certain spot. And Dragonstar is like, whatever. He just leaves over here. But yeah, he can garrison. He can garrison for sure. It's just that because of the way that the packed TCs work, where you can unpack them wherever you want, but they are not going to be all the time perfectly aligned to the grid. You cannot just click anywhere. It's got to be very specific. I think you got to click at the very center for the garrison to work. But it does work. It's just a little bit more finicky. And check this out, Brew. Realizes there isn't too much over here from Dragonstar to defend himself. And interestingly enough, though, he leaves the center when he's got so much fish over here left available to collect from still. He's gonna move up to the north and go for a blacksmith. He's gonna try to just fast castle. Meanwhile, Dragonstar is not going for a fast castle. Instead, he's gonna be the one going for navy. So he's got 2 fire galleys on the way. Bruce got a defensive fire galley on the way. And this is what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about. You go for the TC on top of the mangrove and you find yourself exposed to navy aggression. So that is why Dragonstar has taken the time to build a little bit of a pouch for his base over here. A thin membrane of protection against navy units that it's only going to work against fire line units. But the moment we see Brew go for standard galleys or even war galleys once he gets to the castle age, then this is going to be less than ideal, less than useful for Dragonstar for sure. Market's coming up now for Dragonstar. Already some pressure coming out from Brew. I said it was going to be a defensive fire galley, but now you might actually end up finding an efficient ship. Not quite. Does react over here on time though, so it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. And then up in the north, seems like it's going to be 1-for-1 as well. Both these guys will be trading pretty evenly over there. There we go. Canceling each other out over here. Good job though from Brew. Well done. soaking damage with the fishing ship over here. The fire galley does end up coming out on top. That is something that technically Dragonstar could have tried to do over here. He also had a fishing ship over there, but he decided not to. Interesting. So far in this game, Brew is the one looking better, guys. What would be your prediction for this series? Mine would be probably 3-2 in favor of Dragonstar. I think Dragonstar, I'm favoring the Indian player a little bit more, but I don't think it's a huge difference. I don't think it's like, I don't know, Hera versus Brew or something like that. I think Dragonstar is probably a little bit stronger and kind of sitting in between Brew's level and the very top of the ladder. So I would expect something like 3-2 over here favoring Dragonstar, otherwise probably 3-1 favoring Dragonstar. But given the way that game number 2 is going, Brew plays his cards right over here, he might actually find himself taking game number 2. He's gotten a castle up already. He's got into the castle age significantly earlier in Dragonstar. Dragonstar's getting into the castle age only now. He doesn't have enough resources to go for the castle. He doesn't have enough resources to go for an extra TC. He's gonna choose to go for... He's gonna try to go for water control instead, and he's going for the War Galley upgrade. So these will turn into fire ships very soon. And Brew's going for fire galley. He's going for the War Galley upgrade, sorry, himself. So it's going to be fire ships for him too. Whoa! Graph rank, thanks so much for the raid. And welcome everyone. I hope you had a great stream. And I hope everybody coming from your stream also enjoyed their time there. We're casting Double Cup 3. 2 series we're going to be covering today. Starting with Brew versus Dragonstar and following up with El Noniro versus ACCM, I think it is, right? Let me check. Yes, ACCM versus El Noniro after this one. Nice pressure from Brew. Have you guys been keeping track of Double Cup 3 at all? Some? Perhaps. It's been a great tournament so far. For anybody who might not be familiar with this tournament, it's a tournament with a map pool of only 2, 3, and 4 TC start maps. So every map over here is going to have, at the very least, 2 TCs at the very beginning of the game, and yeah, it's been very interesting so far. Hey Noah, is there a good reason to play as a starting TC in Mangrove despite being so exposed to ships? Basically, you just get it up a little bit earlier. Because it's a nomad start technically, and your TC starts packed, let's say that at the very beginning... By the way, the second capsule coming out for Brew, we're gonna take a look at this in a moment, but let's say at the very beginning, Dragonstar, he doesn't really have much vision of this, right? So he starts over here. Then he brings the transport ship and lands over here. If he goes in a straight line over to the center island, he spots this already. He spots the gold and he spots the wood. So he's got the choice to go for the TC over here or take significantly longer going forward and trying to see if there is a suitable spot to go for the TC elsewhere. And of course we do know that there would have been a fantastic spot for the TC over here, for instance. But at the very beginning you have to make a choice. Do you want to get it up a little bit earlier and potentially start going for villagers earlier, at the expense of potentially being exposed at a later point in time? Or do you want to go for a better location? To be fair, if you get the TC up sooner, you're likely to get out to the field H at the very least at a comparable time compared to your opponent, so you're likely to get defensive units up on water, and you're unlikely to take too much damage in that case, right? 2 villages going down here from Brew. And Dragonstar gets pushed back. Now, the Bull player is looking stronger for work account by a lot, mind you. The idle TC time for Brew is significantly higher compared to game number 1, where it was super high already. And of course, this amounts to a lot of villages, plus Dragonstar has been able to get some of the fishing ships down, has been able to get some villages down. Now we see this TC going down as well for Brew, and he's going for a castle over here, and that's another villager going down for Brew as well. So Dragonstar He's gotten the better Eco KD so far, and Bruce got right now the highest military count, but it's not a huge difference. It's only about 7 extra units, so Dragonstar is not by any means falling behind too much in military whatsoever. But now this might change things up, guys. With a third caster coming up, Brute's gonna increase his production for MANGUDAI by 50%. And he could very well end up taking this DC down soon as well. What an engagement going in favor of Brew on the left-hand side. Up in the north, Dragonstar's going to clean out that dock on the left-hand side. Brew is actually putting pressure, so he's gonna take all the fishing ships down by the looks of it. Yeah. So no one's really going to bank on water economy too much. Gas comes up for Brew, production gets increased. As stated, he holds on to his military lead and actually builds on it. 15 to 6 military units for Brew and Dragonstar respectively. There we go. Interesting. Brew's actually taking elephants over here with the MANGUDAI. But yeah, what to expect from this point onwards? Dragonstar is... He's been going for extra TCs, but as he's going to lose this one eventually, he's gonna be left on 3 in the end. So he's got this one and then 2 on the right-hand side. While Bruce already starting to build a significant military lead, so he's gonna be the one putting pressure up over here. The one good thing about Dragonstar Civilization is the TCs are significantly stronger, right? With twice the HP. So it's taking longer for Brew to take the TCs down with a castle at the center. And if he is to go for a siege workshop at some point and start putting pressure against the extra TCs from Dragonstar, it's going to take significantly longer because of the extra HP as well. So instead, we see Brew roaming around with the MANGUDAI, manages to find some villagers by the berries over here. He's gonna keep on just roaming around and trying to find the exposed economy, and there is a lot of exposed economy for Dragonstar. We have lumberjacks over here, gold miners, right? Lumberjacks over here, gold miners. Foragers, even. Just a matter of Brew finding those units and capitalizing. My lord, my double click sucks. It's not fast enough apparently. 14 MANGUDAI now. Looking strong, guys. Brew. It's got a stronger economy right now. Not in terms of worker count, but in terms of resources. It's gonna be the first one going up to the Imperial Age for sure. That makes a huge difference, of course. We might have twice the HP on the TCs over here for Dragonstar Civilization, but once you start going for trebuchets, especially with a hill advantage over here, it wouldn't take too long for that red player to send some trebuchets over here, potentially over here as well, right? And take the TCs down. There is no TC on the left-hand side, actually. Yeah, but take both these TCs down with a hill advantage. The engagement coming out. The Mon goes down over there. Try to get the conversion against the MANGUDAI, could not do it. Now Dragon starts getting the wall up. Trying to wall these MANGUDAI, but because of the mobility, Brew is able to just walk away over here. Don't want to say unscratched because he's certainly taking a few scuffs here. There's an extra TC coming out now for Brew, and he's been able to save the MANGUDAI and still hold on to his military lead. Now he wants to keep these units alive, and he finds another villager as well, by the way. Beautiful, beautiful play over there for Brew. But he wants to keep these units alive until he gets to the Imperial Age, so he can go for Bracer, Chemistry, potentially all the extra upgrades, Elite MANGUDAI and whatnot. And he's going to have a stronger army than what Dragonstar's got available, because of course if he gets cleaned up, then what does he have to upgrade? There we are. Beautiful. Dragonstar gets the raids going around. Does manage to find some villages over here. Bruce castles are a little bit too far away from a good portion of his economy, so he's unable to defend everything with the fortifications only. And he doesn't really have anywhere near enough resources to go for yet another castle at the center over here to protect this, right? But he does get to the Imperial Age with enough resources to go for a few upgrades. We see Bracer on the way. He's got still 18 MANGUDAI. Chemistry is coming up. And I'm curious, do we have a Siege Workshop at all? Is he going to go for trebuchets? I feel like he's got to go for trebuchets. He's got no Siege Workshop whatsoever, so no MANGUDAI's coming up anytime soon. But he's got to go for trebuchets, man. He's got enough MANGUDAI right now that he'll be able to protect the siege. And Trebs will take these TCs down, while MANGUDAI won't. So it'll be much better for Brute to try and keep the pressure going to go for actual siege. And potentially to even take this castle down once it comes out. Let's take a look to see if the red player is actually aware of it. He doesn't really know about the castle now. Yet, anyway. More villages going down from Dragonstar, and Brew keeps on roaming around. Might be able to find yet another village over here. A few extra villages, actually. Yes, sir. Dragonstar's reaction is swift. Won't be able to prevent some extra villages going down. And we know the best trade over there, losing 2 MANGUDAI for taking 2 villages, given how much lower the villager count is for Brew right now. Dragonstar can't afford to take a few losses. And yeah, the trebuchet is finally coming out for Brew. Where is it? On the right hand side, but it's kind of exposed. The knights are here. Oh man, good thing for Brew. The Dragonstar is actually now realizing about the treasure, at the very least not targeting it. Now he can unpack this. I think he should be able to unpack the trebuchet while still staying within range of the castle to provide protection against melee units. And the MANGUDAI keep on roaming around. The villager difference is significant. It's brutal right now. Dragonstar is in a much better spot in that regard, and he's gonna be in the Imperial Age very soon, so very important for Brood to start knocking the TCs down. He's going for conscription right now. It's gonna boost his military production so long as he can afford to keep the MANGUDAI coming up. Right now, seems like he's struggling though. He's got 3 castles, barely can keep Chu queued up. Lord Commander, by the way, that is a very nice name. I remember there is a character in Final Space called like that. Like the series quite a bit. I don't know if that's where you're getting it from, but thought I might mention it. The CC is also under a lot of pressure, and Brew's doing a really good job keeping the MANGUDAI close. And the CC is going down. It's very interesting because Dragonstar is losing the TC, but he still has the castle to potentially garrison villages in to provide protection to his economy, so it's taking some time for Brew to capitalize. The siege over here, the Imperial Age, and that's taking significantly longer for him to actually be able to expose the economy from Dragonstar. So there's another TC going down over here, right? But we have extra TCs coming out for Dragonstar. He seems to be able to replenish his defenses, Dragonstar that is, much faster than Brew is able to take these down. It's from Game of Thrones. Oh, I see. Alright, alright. There's an animated series on Netflix called Final Space that it's got a character called Lord Commander as well. It's quite a funny one. Elite MANGUDAI, guys, is here for Brew. He's got Parthian tactics on the way. I would imagine at this point he already has gone for Thumbring then. And he has. So he's got Thumbring. Now Parthian tactics on the way. These are Elite MANGUDAI with bloodlines. With husbandry. Bracer and chemistry. The only thing that we're going to be missing is leather arch armor, and these will be fully upgraded, but for aggressive purposes, these are already as good as you can get them in terms of attack. Yeah. And Brew might have been behind this game in terms of economy for a very long time, but doesn't seem like it's going to make too much of a difference. If he can get to about 60 MANGUDAI or so, I don't think there's anything Dragonstar can do about this. And I have mentioned this in the past a few times as well. If you get a full army, so I'm talking about 60, fully upgraded elite Mangudai over here, and you fight against a full army of fully upgraded Persian Paladin with 2 bonus damage against archer units, which the Mangudai also are, and the Paladin completely surround the Mangudai army, the Mangudai come out on top. It's incredible to see. So I think once Brew gets to that, I would say there is almost no comeback for Dragonstar. So long as Brew keeps the trebuchets alive with the Mangudai, he should be in a good spot. Now, this is not the best. He ended up losing one of the trebuchets over here, and then on the right-hand side, he ended up losing this one some time ago as well, because he doesn't have it anymore. But yeah, the game is definitely up for grabs over here. Brew's got Thumb Ring, yes. He's got Thumb Ring, Parthian Tactics, Bloodlines, Husbandry, Bracer, Chemistry, Elite Mangudai, and Leather Arch Armor. So these are effectively fully upgraded Mangudai already. It's taken some time for Brew to get there, especially with the smaller economy compared to Dragonstar, but he's gotten there. Now he's got 50 plus Mangudai, and this is huge. He's gonna start going for trebuchets once again, and this is what I'm talking about. If you can protect your siege with the Mangudai, your opponent cannot really do too much. Now, Dragonstar noticed he's going for Paladin. He's going for Blast Furnace. We might get to see full Paladin versus full Mangudai over here. And while, of course, Dragonstar's got a stronger economy to potentially replenish his units, might be able to come out on top in the end, but it's going to go through a lot more units than Bruce gonna be going through himself as well. We'll see. There's a lot of Cavalier over here. Not too much garrison space for the villagers, of course, inside the TC, so many of these do go down, but now the Cavalier get pushed away by the Mangudai. We have already played Bard and Armor for Dragonstar as well, so these are as upgraded as they can be for defenses. Paladin is going to boost their HP a little bit more, and Bruce roaming around. He cannot take on the TC, but can he though? Do you see how quickly the TC is actually losing HP over there? Wow! I think if Brew committed to it, he would have been able to get the TC down, although he would have lost a few Mangudai in the process. This is a very interesting situation. 30 seconds from now, Dragonstar's gonna finish researching Paladin, and he's got 33 plus 6 units out in the fields and queued respectively. So we might get to see the ultimate Mangudai versus Paladin fight over here. But obviously, so long as Brew is paying any attention to his army whatsoever, and he's getting to 69 Mangudai, nice. But so long as he pays any attention to his army, he should be able to prevent Dragonstar from getting a full surround, so that should allow him to get much better trades against the Paladin. Let's see. Yeah, and Mongols also get heavy count, so he could potentially make a play for that. Right now, I'm convinced the Mangudai should be sufficient. And he's bringing the Mangudai back. 47 over here, out of a total of 72. Another castle on the way, 5th castle on the way for Brew and Dragonstar. Are we going for trebuchets or anything to take the castles down? Just Paladin. So now Brew's gonna be chasing Dragonstar around, interestingly enough. I would very much like for Brew to perhaps leave 20 or so Mangudai alongside the trebuchet over here to keep on putting pressure on the right hand side and take the fortifications down from Brew, and then send everything else to defend against the Paladin. And this is what I'm talking about. Check this out. We have a lot of extra Mangudai over here, and the Paladin are actually trying to surround the units. And this is not the deadly ball of Mangudai that I was talking about earlier, but it's still going to be enough. Take on the Paladin. Take a look at that. The blue player is losing everything. And this is not a full army of Mangudai, you know? And this is with Persian Paladin. Probably the best Paladin to take on range units because of the team bonus. Now all of a sudden Dragonstar down to 28 Paladins. Gonna keep on going for more. Of course, it's gonna be extremely expensive for him to keep on going for these units. And Dragonstar we'll try to push the Mangudai over here. It'd be great if Brew could have gone for a house or something, maybe another archer range or something over here to kind of fabricate the choke point. Now he's just going to try and take the engagement underneath the castle, which is going to allow him to take a better trade, but given the much stronger economy for Dragonstar, Brew still needs to try and minimize the losses he takes, because once again, Dragonstar can replenish his units much easier than Brew can, because of the higher worker count. And now Dragonstar starts to push back. He'll get one of the castles down. Brew's still on 4 castles, even if this one crumbles. 3 trebuchets for Brew though, looking strong. And Dragonstar keeps on making the game messy, just sending some paladin up in the north, sending some paladin to the east. Just making it very difficult for Brew to take advantage of the MANGUDAI, right? He's playing defensive all the time. If the game keeps on going like this, eventually Dragonstar is going to be the first one to run out of steam though. Brew has been taking a lot fewer losses compared to Dragonstar. You can take a look at the KD over here, which favors the red player by quite a lot. If we take a look at the amount of resources available still, there is plenty of gold available in the map. So if Brew wants to make the play for, you know, resource starvation, so to say, it's going to take forever because there is just so much gold around the map. So much gold. The Ferrari Rams kind of hard to finish the game here without siege at all. Yeah, I think the trebuchets are still fine. He's got 2 over here. I'm not really sure why he did not bring the 3rd one. So long as he's able to protect them with the MANGUDAI. The problem with this is that if he wants to keep all the MANGUDAI over here to protect the trebuchets with, then he doesn't really have units left to defend himself. And Dragonstar's been making this game super messy by splitting his army up and sending the paladin everywhere. Not fishing at all with both players? Is there a reason? I don't think there is a reason beyond just it being kind of micro-intensive to keep on going for docks around the map so that the fishing ships do not get very inefficient. Beyond that, I think probably the players are just kind of maxed out for APM, so they... Like, it's fine, they already have enough villagers. Well, Dragonstar does anyway. Brew's probably just prioritizing his full economy towards keeping the push going over here, keeping his MANGUDAI up in good numbers, which is still pretty difficult at this point. And as expected, the paladin over here will get cleaned out. That is not the best unit control for Brew, mind you. But the paladin will still not getting cleaned up over here. Take a look at that. He's trying to circle around the paladin to go out to the trenches, and he will take these down. 2 shots each. He is losing a lot of these MANGUDAI, and once again, he doesn't really have a strong enough economy to replenish these quite as quickly as Dragonstar is able to go for more paladins. So, well, I'm still liking MANGUDAI over paladin over here. Brew is dropping to a very dangerous looking 114 population, while Dragonstar, he's completely maxed out and popped the 200 pop and locked at it as well. Brew still has some good MANGUDAI over here, but he's losing ground. He's losing ground in Dragonstar. Seems like he's going to end up offsetting over here. And the call over here was unfortunately very, very expensive for Brew. He ended up taking the trebuchets, yes, but he ended up losing the castle anyway. He ended up losing a big chunk of MANGUDAI. Now he doesn't really have enough to keep on putting pressure with. He's also trebuchets himself, so also he's been taking as expensive, if not more losses, compared to Dragonstar in the last 5 minutes. It was favoring Brew before, but in the last 5 minutes or so, it's not been the best trades for him, that is for sure. Yeah, we see Hussars right now for Dragonstar, interestingly enough. They're gonna keep on going for paladin too much by the looks of it. There we go. Now the castle's crumbling very soon from Brew. More trebuchets moving over from Dragonstar over here as well. And there are extra castles coming up for Brew. He's been going for stone quite heavily. He's trying to get to a good amount of MANGUDAI once again, but once again, population is just so much better for Dragonstar over here. It's been pretty difficult for Brew to keep on going. He will clean this up still. Against Hussar, the MANGUDAI do not struggle at all. It's precisely 9 line units from Persians that get 2 bonus damage against Archer type units. So Brew can get completely surrounded by Hussar. He most likely won't care. He can get completely surrounded by Paladin, and that's going to certainly be a much bigger issue. Nice! Trebuchet snipes over there. Now Brew's starting to take much more cost-effective trades once again. Sniping the Trebs over there, losing only 1 Mango Day in the process and going back. Should be able to clean this up. It's gonna be confined to playing defensive though, for the most part. There we go. Another castle might crumble. Bruce gonna be left on 4. Still struggles to get back to 50 or so MANGUDAI. Even 40 or so MANGUDAI. With the castle going down over there, Lumberjacks get exposed. The Paladin are going right after the gold miners, and Brew was banking on a single gold over here. He had all his villages. That is not a very effective economy, a very efficient economy rather. Many of the villagers will not fit inside the castle, so he's going to end up losing a few over here. And once again, Brew struggling to even get to 100 villagers or so, struggling to keep a decent MANGUDAI number, and this gotta be over fairly soon. There we go. Brew recognizes the situation and calls it GG. So Dragonstar finds himself up 2-0 against the Brazilian player. Let's go through the achievements before we jump into game number 3. And what do we get over here? We're gonna have a very nice KD for Brew. Approaching 5-4, unfortunately. Because his economy was so much smaller, it did not really matter too much. So we have for Dragonstar in the end about 37,000 extra resources. Quite a chunk of change. We're gonna see also for yeah, the Bull player, the highest villager count, and it's not even close. It's by a lot. 43 extra villagers for his villager max count over here. Brew was never able to get past 104 villagers this game, ended up losing 117 villagers throughout the game. Well, Dragonstar, on the other hand, ended up losing quite a bit of economy himself, ended up losing about 74 villagers himself, but of course, just kind of dropping the bucket against Brew. Compared to Brew's losses anyway. Well done! Dragonstar 2, Brew, 0. And there we go, guys. Welcome everyone then. For game number 3. We have double Aslan and Dragonstar. Playing towards the northwest is gonna have Franks, while Brew playing towards the southeast. It's gonna have Bulgarians. Taking a look at Dragonstar civilization, Franks will get 15% faster working forager, so it makes sense for him to make, you know, the civilization choice for this map. We're gonna have for Franks on top of that free farm upgrades, 25% cheaper castles, 20% extra HP on cavalry units starting in the village, for the team bonus to extra line of sight on nightline units. So take a look at this. Jaguars are units that you can actually gather food from. So you can see the Jaguar over there. Dragonstar is already collecting from it, so he seems to be very much aware of the map mechanics. Meanwhile, taking a look at Brew, it seems like Brew is also aware of it. He's just taking one Jaguar, he's collecting from another one as well. So both these guys are familiar with this. You gotta keep in mind that the Jaguars do go down extremely quickly. They do, you know, deplete extremely quickly, so you need to keep on going for more and more. For the civilization of Brew, we'll see for Bulgarians that they get militia line upgrades for free. So men at arms, lone swords, and 200 swordsmen. The upgrades will be available for free. So let's say you go for some militias early on in the Dark Age, you get to the village and they get upgraded to men at arms instantly. And you don't have to pay anything. So that is a very strong upgrade for a map like this, where the players will be fighting over the center for fish control, right? So we have 97 fish available in the center, worth about 20,000 food. And yeah, having immediate access to Minotaurs, of course, can make a big difference over there. So far, nobody has lost a single villager, although it seems like we are kind of getting close to that. At the very least, Brew realized about the villager over here. Fighting against more Jaguars, though! Brew! Be careful, man! He's got a garrison, the villager. He does. And now he's got to be careful, of course, not to take the Jaguars down with the TC. So he does end up saving the villager over here, but that was a close call. He's got all the Jaguars over here left. Beautiful. He's done a good job. Getting kind of housed right now, though. Yeah, feels bad. Brew ended up rushing a house over there with 5 villagers. Besides the free militia line upgrades for Brew, we're going to see for Bulgarians also. Access to Crepos, a 50% full discount on blacksmith and siege workshop upgrades. And then on top of that, they get for the team bonus, 80% faster working blacksmiths. Does Jaguar taste like chicken? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. Although if anybody knows over here, certainly do let us know. Has anybody ever had cat? I think that's probably the case in some countries, but I don't know if that's going to be comparable to Jaguars. I have no idea. Anyway, oh, like cat? More gamey and with more muscle? Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Madness? It is madness. It is madness, I tell you. But it should be going out to the fuel H very soon. We're gonna see them both try to make a play for the fish at the center. Bruce's gonna be the first one to go for it. He's got a barracks in the way, so we're gonna see militias, and that should be the case for Bulgarians. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, Dragonstar's not really going for much of anything right now. He will be the first one to click up to the fuel H, but not by a lot. Bruce should be on his way up as well. And we are starting to get a little bit of extra idle TC time for Brew, and it's been a struggle for him. By a lot. Both scouts still out for both these players. That taste would make me his. Yeah, certainly. I can confirm. Wouldn't be too happy about eating cat. I think Jaguar's take on top of his lies of bread would be a source of infinite energy. You know, these Jaguars actually do run down pretty quickly, so I'm pretty curious about it. Like, is that probably related to the meat not lasting too long? Once you taste Jaguar, you can't stop having it. You can't stop having more Jaguar. You can't have enough of it, so it runs down immediately, perhaps. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. Regardless, though, on the left-hand side, Brew, he's coming over. He's got the militias turned into Minotaurs already. Because cats always land standing, and bread always falls on the side with the topping. Yeah. There we go. Minotaurs over here might be able to get some good damage done. We have the scouts over here. We have extra Minotaurs coming in from Bruce. 6 Minotaurs. A few extra arriving over here. Meanwhile, Dragonstar's going to try to make a play for archers, but he's already going to end up getting pushed away from here at the very least. That should be the case right now. Brew is even going for a forward tower, so this is going to be a Minotaur's trash that he didn't have to pay for the Minotaur upgrade for. And there we go, still all 6 Minotaurs up, and that's gonna be 1, 2 villages going down, and he might actually end up completely denying the tower over here if he plays his cards right, and he is going to place his cards right. He's got extra Minotaurs coming up. He's trying to target 1 villager with 1 Minotaur, so in a 1-to-1 fight over here, of course the Minotaurs come out on top, and we have only 1 archer left for Dragonstar, so this tower is going down immediately. It's not even close. Check this out. Tower goes down. The villagers get ejected from it. Dragonstar gets pushed away from the center, and it's going to be Brew in the end, the one to secure all the center food. There's a lot of free resources the Dragonstar's not getting access to, and now it's going to be forcing to go in for farms as soon as he runs out of berries, of course. Well done. Brew now can go back and pull back to the tower where he is going to be able to defend his Minotaurs against the archers. Up in the north, the berries are about to run out for Dragonstar. He's already started making a switch to farms. At the very least, the Franks do get free farm upgrades, but he'll still have to pay for the actual farms. On the left-hand side, we're going to see the exact same thing as well. The farms are coming up, even if berries are still left over here up for him to grab. In the end, Dragonstar does end up spending a lot of extra resources over there to get access to food, while Brew, obviously, is just going to keep on going for more and more fish, and he's going to be fine. Does this map need more rock terrain types? Yeah, it's not enough right now. I know, right? Seems like down the south, Brew is about to chop through over here, get access to the extra resources. Meanwhile, I think so, right? He's not... Oh, I think he's actually chopped already through. Should be able to come in. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, Dragonstar is still a few layers away from getting access to the extra minerals. Here we are. Beautiful. Now, we have extra scouts coming out for Brew, who has so far been able to keep up with the TC a little bit better compared to Dragonstar, and this got a lot to do with Dragonstar running out of the Jaguars, running out of berries and not being able to collect resources from the center. He struggled to keep the TCs working, so now it's going to be kind of the same amount of idle TC time for both these players. Brew with one fear villager over here ends up losing one. But will not pushing Dragonstar away for sure. There we go. Bruce coming forward. He's got the mobility. He's taking on the spearman over there. And Castle H is on the way for the red player as well. And now is when you start seeing all the resources Bruce being saving by not having to go for farms pay off. Because Dragonstar, on the other hand, has been going for extra military units over here. Has had to pay for the farms. And has fallen behind in economy a lot because of it. Well, Brew is still collecting from all the fish at the center. And remember, it was about 18,000, I think, right? Food available at the center. And now we have about 15,600. So I think he's ended up collecting between 2,000 to 3,000 fish from the center. Brew, that is, at this point in time already. No wonder he's able to go out to the Castle Age a little bit earlier. Meanwhile, Dragonstar. Yeah, Dragonstar is just going to keep on committing to archers over here, interestingly enough, with Franks. And Brew? Well, Brew can really make a play for archers himself, but his skirmishers are going to be just fine. So he could go for that, and that would counter both the pikemen or the spearmen over here and the archers, but he's not thinking of it yet. It seems like he's just going to wait until he gets to the castle edge, go for light cavalry, potentially chain bar than armor, right, and try to clean these units out. But this is an awful trade for Brew. What is going on over here? What is that assessment from Brew? Why would he ever take that engagement? Now Dragonstar's got great momentum, pushes the red player away from the center, and that was not good. He needed to pull the villagers out and keep the scouts alive. I think it was a matter of Brew probably not realizing about the engagement on time, unfortunately. He's a very strong player, we know this, so I think he probably just was not paying attention there, and that is very unfortunate. But yeah, he still has the lead though, in any case, with chain bar than armor and knights on the way. Bruce shouldn't really struggle too much against the Spearman and the Archers over here, so long as he gets a good amount of units out. He's got triple stable production, right? So it's not going to take too long for him to get a good amount of units out and clean these units out from Dragonstar. He's got a 30C on the way down the south over here, inside the corner. Meanwhile, Dragonstar's already chopped through on the left-hand side, is about to chop through up in the north, and then in the east, interestingly enough, Brew has not really been chopping through, so won't be able to get there yet. And anytime soon, by the looks of it. This is what I'm talking about. Now he gets us around common with Castle H units over there. The Knights certainly help. In doubt, taking Dragonstar's units down. We're kind of overextended over there a little bit. There we go. And Castle H is here for Dragonstar. Brew's not really getting too much momentum yet, so Dragonstar is definitely still in the game. Pikeman's coming up. Wheelbarrow's on the way. Good defense for Dragonstar. Now the Pikeman upgrade coming in about 20 seconds. Is not coming in on time though. The Spearmen are going down even underneath the TC to the Knights. Well done. However, Brew doesn't really have too much over there to aggro, right? There is no exposed economy whatsoever. And over here, Dragonstar is completely walled off as well. So I guess Brew's gonna have to try next on the left-hand side. And he is in some Knights. Remember, triple stable production potential for Brew means that he should be able to go for a lot. Let me turn. Here he comes. Now, there's a lot of exposed villages over here. There's a lot more exposed economy for Dragonstar over here, for sure. But there are also a lot of pikemen over here. So this is not really a place where Brew's going to want to hang around for too long. There we go. He loses one of the Knights. Bails. Up in the north. It's gonna be able to get a villager over here underneath the TC. 2 villages, 3 villages, matter of fact. And still cannot get to the woodland. But this is good still because he's idling so much. For Dragonstar, a lot of the wood players' economy over there is just going to be completely idling. Down the south, though. Down the south, Dragonstar's got its own raid coming up. Only 2 Knights over here, but he's already been able to get 3 villages down. Make that 5 villages very soon as well. If Brew does not pay attention over here, that's going to be all these villagers underneath the TC going down to the Knights, and Brew doesn't seem to be able to garrison these on time, which is very unfortunate. So he ends up taking a few villagers from Dragonstar, yes, but he ends up losing his entire farming economy down the south. My lord, 9 villagers going down from Brew down the south, and Dragonstar is not paying attention over there too much, otherwise he would send the Knights further down, further south. Crepo's coming out for Brew, trying to take advantage of his fortification. There we are. And there we go. Dragonstar tried to send the units down the south, and Brew is like, well, what to do now? This is completely exposed, but he already has an extra TC over here. And he's got another TC coming out down the south. Does he keep on producing villages from here? He's going to. He's got the farms over here already, but of course, he does have to do a little bit of a better job paying attention to the units over there. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, Knights are cleaning up the pikemen. And now, Brew's got enough Knights left to potentially keep the villager sidle over here, the farmer sidle, for a long time. Instead, he's going to send the Knights over the left-hand side to try and come in, though, into the corner. But Dragonstar is completely walled up. And it's been kind of like a recurring theme for Brew. He gets some good damage done. He manages to idle some of the economy from Dragonstar around his TCs, but then he's unable to get to the corners. And so far, it's not really mattered too much because Brew's damage, just by idling the economy for Dragonstar inside or around his TCs, has already been very strong, but interestingly enough, it's not been strong enough for him to get a substantial lead. At this point in time, population is dead even for both players. We have 105 for both these guys with a comparable amount of workers, a comparable amount of military units. While the KD has favored Brew for the most part, Eco KD has favored Dragonstar, interestingly enough. There we go. Extra TC coming up in the north for Dragonstar. That's going to be the 4th one. Meanwhile, we already have 5 for Brew. And the castle's coming up for Dragonstar. Seems like he's going to try and make a play for the Imperial Age, right? He's got almost enough resources, or at the very least, he's getting kind of close. But Brew's not really falling behind too much, and he does have more food workers compared to Dragonstar. He's still collecting from the center, so he's just been getting thousands of resources for free. Thousands of extra food units over there for free from the center. There's a Krepos coming up. There we go. Up in the north. Knights are coming forward from Brew once again. And Dragonstar's got another castle over here, but Brew will indeed be the first one to click out to the Imperial Age by the looks of it. He's got already the castles, right? He's got the castle, so he doesn't need any extra buildings. He only needs to collect a little bit of extra gold. The food, he already has it. And as a matter of fact, he doesn't even need to collect extra gold because he can just sell the wood that he's got. And he would have enough already to click out to the Imperial Age. Now I would imagine the red player already at this point has a market, right? Yeah, he does. So just sell some of the wood, click up, there we go. Click up to the Imperial Age, he's gonna be on his way. Meanwhile, Dragonstar on the other hand, he's going for extra pieman, just playing defensive for the time being in Brew. He's looking strong, guys. Once he gets to the Imperial Age, we're gonna see Cavalier from Brew. Here we go, Dragonstar's push over here. Unlikely to achieve too much as Bruce already getting the Krepos up. Dragonstar's gonna have to bail. Yeah, even without the Krepos, Brew was already sent some of the units back. So we have Conics now coming up for Brew as well. It's not going to be just Knights. Knights, Conics. Imperial Age is only about 50 seconds away from Brew. Meanwhile, Dragonstar probably about 50 seconds from having enough to click out to the Imperial Age, to be fair though. Nah, it's gonna be more like 30 seconds. He's got enough gold already, and the food workers that he's got should suffice for him to click out to the Imperial Age very soon. But of course, Brew, getting there earlier, is going to be the first player with access to Cavalier. Unfortunately, it's taken him some time to get a castle up, which means that Trebuchets will have to wait for Brew, right? It's gonna take some time. He needs to get a castle up first. And that might actually give Dragonstar the possibility to play defensive over here instead, I think. Here we go. Nice. See now, Elite Conic coming out for Brew. As he gets the castle up, he does not go for trebuchets yet though. Whatsoever. He just finished researching it, there we go. And now we have stirrups on the way! Beautiful! So this cavalry from Brew is going to be so strong, so much stronger compared to anything Dragonstar's got access to in the castle age, of course. We need to wait for Dragonstar to potentially get access to Paladin for him to be able to fight these units up. Because for the time being, Brew is looking much, much better. Description is here as well for Brew. And this engagement is not even close, man. Dragonstar's gonna get completely clapped out. And he does. And Brew is coming out on top. Beautiful. Privilege here for Dragonstar. We're gonna see Halberdier coming out right away as well as Iron Casting. And Brew instead. He's got some of the Conics coming up in the north. He has, of course, the Krepos over here up in the north, so he can produce from there. One Cherish is finally on the way for Brew, of course, with the only castle being all the way down the south. Brew is going to have a long distance to travel with the trebuchet before he's able to put any pressure anywhere. Yeah, and you know what? Brew is actually going to target the TC over here. Doesn't care about the castle fire. Wow. And it seems like it's going to be enough for him to take the TC down, guys. Pop goes the Weasel, the TC ejects the villagers, and now these Conics will go after the villagers for sure. That close to the big 50. Yes! Denmark! Hey there, welcome back, welcome back. I hope you're doing alright. I hope everything's going well for you. And thank you so much for the support. 49 months! That is so nuts! That is over 4 years already. Close to 50 months. Gee, man, the extended support has been insane. Thank you so much. 4 years, you know, I started streaming about 4.5 years ago. Probably a little bit more than that. So, having 49 months over here. You've been here since, like, almost the very beginning. Basically, the very beginning, with if we take into account the quality increment of the stream, I guess. Because the very few streams, of course, were more like testing streams. But yeah, you know what? Johnson's going to call the GG over here, as he recognizes he cannot really keep on fighting Brew off in this game, and Brew's gonna be the one to take game number 3 then. We have a 2-1 score, still favoring Dragonstar, but we have a 4-game series over here. At the very least, it's not going to be a 3-0. So yes. Hope you're well. I'm doing alright. I'm doing alright. And as I said earlier, I have some news, but let me go through the achievements over here before repeating that. And what do we get? Well, we're gonna see for military, stronger KD for Brew, about 5 to 4. For economy, we have a stronger economy for Brew as well, collecting about 17,000 extra resources, as a matter of fact, which is not a small amount of resources. For society, we see a stronger society count for Brew as well, 152. Villagers max. Ended up losing about 33 villagers over here. Meanwhile, Dragonstar ended up losing exactly 50 villagers. And the PM was a little bit higher for Brew, not particularly quick for either player, particularly speaking, compared to some other pro players, that is, but it's good anyway. So let's go back, and we might end up getting a full series over here. We're gonna have to see how Brew performs in game number 4. And here we are, guys, Dragonstar. You're going to keep him in the blue color, Brew. You're going to keep him in the red color. So far, 2-1 in favor of Dragonstar. And Double Antarctica. The very interesting map it is. We're going to take a look at it very quickly. And you will notice that it's got some similarities to some other maps that we have seen in tournaments in the past, with very interesting features, such as piles of wood over here, as opposed to having actual wood, actual forests, rather, actual woods. We are going to have piles of wood, or piles of lumber, where villagers will be able to go and collect resources from, and this is going to have 100,000 wood each per tile, right? So it's good. Anyway, for Hans, given that both these players will have the same civilization, we're going to see the same bonuses for both. So that's 10, 20% cheaper, cavalry archer units in the castle and Imperial Ages. We get also 50% accuracy on truces as opposed to 15%. And then on top of that, we'll see for Huns also 200 population support from the get-go, as well as for the team bonus, 20% faster working stables. There we are. Very unlikely to see too much of anything, of course, at the very beginning because the double TC start being somewhat slower. It's interesting because the games are actually a little bit quicker. You get to your late game position significantly earlier because you're able to produce villagers much faster. You get your economy growing significantly quicker, but because you can do nothing but just go for village at the very beginning, it's actually a little bit of a slower start, interestingly enough, especially compared to something like Warlords, right? Or the Deep Waters format, rather, which Warlords utilize with the 9 villager start. So there we go. Nice. Bruce already collecting from some of the penguins. He's gone for a dock so he can deposit the penguin food. And he can also go for fishing ships. Meanwhile, we'll take a look at Dragonstar. And he's in a similar situation as well. But he's not really going for fishing ships yet. So Bruce could potentially start pulling ahead in worker count. He has gotten a little bit of extra idle TC time compared to Dragonstar. So right now, the worker count is the same for both these players, despite the fishing ship out already for Brew. And Dragonstar's only now going for the first fishing ship, but it seems like he's gonna get ahead by 1 worker. Players will begin also with a couple of trade donkeys over here too. Pretty decent vision, of course, but these are very slow. I'm just going to get some scouting information, and Brew already knows, or Dragonstar already knows about Brew's location for the dock, and we take a look at this, and Brew is also now realizing about Dragonstar's dock location. There's a second group of villagers moving over the right-hand side from Brew. The Dragonstar, if he's paying attention to the donkey, he should have seen the villagers move over there. So we could potentially see another dock over here, for instance, right? And it doesn't seem like Dragonstar is going to be the one to send villagers to go for a second dock, potentially. So yeah. Hey, there we go! Where's the dock? No dock? Brew? Okay. Okay, he's gonna go for the mill instead. Makes sense. Cheaper. Can't really afford double dock production, so if it's just to deposit food, the mill is going to be just as good, obviously. Here we go. Beautiful Dragonstar. Let's get in. Dock up. Village is on the way for both these guys. We're gonna see both these players go up to the Castle Age pretty soon after they get to the Fuel Age. Basically, it's the way it goes with double TC start. Dragonstar's got a significant head start to it now. Let's take a look at what he's going for. He's got a barracks on the way already on the left-hand side. Which means we're going to see a stable come up over here, and this is calculated. He saw the duck earlier from Brew up in the north on the left-hand side. So he's going for the barracks on the left-hand side. And once he gets to the village, we're going to see a stable come up over here. Some scouts come out, and he'll try to target the fisherman over here. Potentially even the fishing ship. I think the fisherman is going to be most likely than not going to be the target for the scouts. And then Brew is going to take a little longer to get to the village. And I'm very curious about his reaction over here. The moment Dragonstar gets to the village, Brew should be expecting to get beat to scouts by quite a lot. Wow, wait a moment though, what? Dragonstar is going for double archer ranges on the right hand side. What is this? He could have gone for scouts already. He could have started putting pressure over here. He's gonna try to go up to the castle age, sure. It's gonna take a little bit of time because he is going for some military, but this is not at all what I was expecting to see from Dragonstar, okay? And Brew, well, Brew gets to the village already. He gets the walls up. You see, this is the reaction that I was talking about. I was curious if Brew was going to go for the local walls around the piles of wood, because that's how he stays safe. That's how he keeps safe. He keeps safe from the scouts. But now that archers are on the way for Dragonstar, it seems like the walls are actually not really going to do much of anything, right? We see the first archer moving over from Dragonstar up on the right-hand side. Let's take a look. There we go. Yes, sir. Brew is to bail from here soon. We're gonna see extra archers come out. And yeah, he's got his own archer range coming up on the right-hand side, the red player that is. And he's got a second stable on the way though. So he's got already the first stable over here. Second stable's coming up, yes. Here we are. Beautiful. There we go. The bloodline's coming up now for Brew. Dragonstar will be the first player to get to the castle age, and he's been going for archers. So we're gonna see crosses coming up over here. Dragonstar's got the third and fourth archer ranges coming up on the left-hand side. Meanwhile, Brew is the one to actually go for the scout play that I was expecting Dragonstar to try to go for. And you know, Brew's been able to get one villager down so far, but it's not really been a lot of damage, especially with the amount of scouts he's gone for. He's got 7 scouts right now. He's only managed to get one villager down. So he doesn't really have too much to show for it. And on the right-hand side, we actually see a villager go down over here from Brew, I think. Somewhere. He lost a villager, not exactly sure where, but it's going to be 1-to-1 Eco KD. Now that's going to be 2-to-2 Eco KD. The players are trading villagers pretty evenly. Of course, Dragonstar's making a transition to cavalry archers over here. Is not going to be crosses in the end. He didn't really have too many, so it's not a big loss that he won't be upgrading these units at all. With cavalry archers, he should be in a pretty good spot. Here we go. Cavalry archers are starting to get to somewhat solid numbers. 7 only right now. He's got 6 queued up, but he's got 4 archer ranges to produce from, so it shouldn't take too long for him to get to a good amount of these guys. And you know, we have talked about this in the past. Usually against castle age units, if you get to 30 cavalry archers, you're going to be kind of unstoppable. But against Village units, like what does Brew really go for against Cavalry Archers? He's gonna go for anything. The scouts are not strong enough. The skirmishers are not strong enough. Remember, elite skirmisher gets bonus damage against Cavalry Archer type units. Standard skirmishers, they don't. So these guys, you see the attack? They only have bonus against Archer type armor, not Cavalry Archer. So Brew's gotta call it GG right there. Wouldn't want to keep on going anymore. Dragonstar's pressure was getting a little bit too much for the red player to hold on against over here. And Dragonstar will thus be the one moving on to the lower bracket semi-final already. With the final score of 3-1 against Brew. And Brew gets knocked out of the tournament. So, we'll play it to Dragonstar. We'll play it to Brew. Let's go through the achievements one more time over here before jumping into the next series. That's going to be an 11 to 10 KD ratio for Dragonstar. We have for economy, a stronger economy for Dragonstar as well, collecting about 1800 extra resources. For society, a higher villager max count for Dragonstar, and for total amount of villagers produced versus current villager count over here, we can see the Dragonstar ended up losing 2 villagers throughout the game. Brew ended up losing 9. So much heavier losses for Brew for sure. And well, Dragonstar is going to move on now to fight against whoever loses in one of the semi-final matchups from the upper bracket, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see. Let's go.